Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Vesselin Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Kim Charlson. And in today's episode, Monty's going to be talking about how we can predict different outcomes to choose our path forward by collaborating with different energies. Before we get into today's episode topic, I wanted to take a moment to invite you to a special event that Monty and I will be hosting on September 9th. If you have been kind of curious about connecting with your own guides, you're not really sure how to do it, you've tried, it's been really frustrating, or you get angel numbers all the time, but you have no idea what they mean, this is definitely an event you want to sign up for. What we'll be doing is going through a guided experience together, and I'll be checking on everybody's energy to see how they're doing so that way they can connect with their spirit guides. So it's not just a guided meditation, but really an experience for you to have. And we'll also talk about the common misconceptions about spirit guides, answer questions about how we can start working with them. So that way you can start moving forward in your spirit guide consultative relationship approach. It is September 9th and it will be starting at 7 p.m. and will run about 90 minutes Central US time. And the cost is $15 if you'd like to join us. There will be a link down in the show notes to sign up, and we hope that we see you there. So now let's get into this week's topic and message. This episode of Monty's Guidance proposes a completely different way of working and operating in the world that I find so intriguing, and I'm very excited to put into practice for myself, because when we talk about surrender, which has been the theme over the last couple of episodes here, and the universe working through us, we can't care about outcomes as part of that, of saying the only things I can control is what's inside of me. But that doesn't mean that we can't have desires for collaborations and set intentions. It's just knowing that we can't control the outcome. We can't force things to happen a certain way, but we can allow our desires to be part of what we create. And it's a slight nuance that Monty addresses in his channeled guidance today that I feel really clarifies a whole lot and helps me understand what it means. But Monty walks us through the actual process step by step that we could use to begin to collaborate with different energies and allow ourselves to come more into that aware state of what is possible in the future. And Monty talks about in this episode that certain energies, that when we connect with them, have certain manifestations that are available to them. And we get to pick and choose what's beneficial to us both. And the consciousness of different energies, which is something that I've kind of known, but haven't really understood how to put that to use. So let's get into Monty's message for today, and then we'll reflect on it at the end together. As we have been discussing over the previous episodes about how to surrender and work with different energies, it is now time to discuss how you can predict future outcomes, because this is, in its essence, part of what you are doing when you are collaborating with different energies. Now, it is important to understand that to fully and truly surrender to the universe, you are accepting whatever energies as they come, being the point of transformation, and then allowing the energies to flow out into the world and to take whatever format they will. You are not the determiner of that format, but rather the transformation point that allows the energy to assume those different formats. As part of it, as we have discussed before, as you are that transformation point, your unique energies become imprinted in that transformation, in that manifestation. And as you are bringing these energies from the non-physical or from other manifestations through your point of transformation, imprinting your own soul on it, and then allowing it to become something different through you, that process also imprints your desires at a soul level, because your soul, in its essence, is the spectrum of desirable to undesirable to neutral energies, as we have talked about before. So as you are collaborating with different energies, you see them as desirable from your soul's perspective to collaborate with, or at best neutral. And so then as these energies come in, You are embedding them with your own perspective and desire for that energy before releasing it into the world. Now, it is a bit complex to understand because that is not the same as enacting your will on the energy of saying you must take this certain format in the way that we talked about in the episode about surrendering to the universe. But rather, in this way, you are saying, energy, I want to collaborate with you in a mutually beneficial way, something that is good for you and good for me. And I trust it will be good for others as well. And allowing yourself to work in this collaborative effort with this energy, that is how you allow it to take and to create the format that it desires that is mutually beneficial through you. That is how you surrender without regard to the outcome of saying, energy, what is mutually beneficial to us both, this is the format I will help you take. I am that point of transformation, and I am allowing us to collaborate in this way for you to work with me and through me to create something in the world, either non-physical or physical, for us to achieve this together. But that you are, in many ways, passive in this endeavor and trusting that it is mutually beneficial to you. Now, as part of this process, it can be difficult to determine what that energy wants and what is truly mutually beneficial to you, especially when you are working through bringing in energies that are undesirable to you rather than desirable energies. But we will speak first about desirable energies, as this is easier for most people to understand and to work through. So, think of a particularly desirable situation that you want to occur. Now, with this in mind, understand the energy behind that desirable situation. It could be a particular outcome that you really wish to manifest, but what we want you to focus on is that energy at its core of what it is, because you will be collaborating with these energies as they come in to create what it is that you desire. So without regard to the manifestation, we want you to have in mind this energy. And when you have this energy in mind and you begin to create that energy within yourself and make it into your state of being, as we have talked about in the previous episode, of preparing your vessel to receive the energy in external formats by creating it internally, you can communicate with that energy and its field energetically as it runs throughout the entire universe to understand what is mutually beneficial to create from it. What this means is, as you are creating this energy within yourself, is that it does have that imprinted desire that you have yourself in it, your own soul energies. So it is easier for you to understand when you are creating this energy within yourself than when you are taking in an external energy. But what you need to be aware of is that that energy, as you create it within yourself, and it is truly that energy, it is connected and one with all the other manifestations, physical and non-physical, of that energy through all time and space. Some of those things you may find undesirable manifestations of that energy. But as you are cultivating that energy and creating it within yourself, that energy in its essence is connected to every possible manifestation it could ever have through all time and space. And allowing yourself to listen to that energy and to ask it, how could we best collaborate together? What format would you like to take through me? That is how you can surrender in the process of creation and trusting that in part of that process, especially when you are creating this energy within yourself, it is already embedded with your own desires. You know that they are there. And so you can surrender and say, I trust that this energy in our communication is creating something mutually beneficial for us both. And listening to that energy that you have in mind and collaborating with it in this way will allow you to understand. And you can predict future outcomes by then allowing yourself to visualize with this energy. So asking this energy then to allow it to guide you through visualizations of different outcomes. And this is where you can assess together, not merely on yourself and not merely alone, but together to understand how you can best collaborate together, because there are maybe certain visualizations that are ones that you feel are more in alignment for you, that you feel more ready and capable to accept than others. But know that because this energy is connected to all the different formats, to all time and space that it could possibly inhabit, it is proposing what is possible. It is proposing all of the different formats it could inhabit because it knows all of these formats are readily available to it, but it requires that you help it assume that format. And so know that they are all equally as capable of being brought into creation. And so at that point, it comes in with your side of the collaboration of what you want to do to collaborate with it. You're not controlling the outcome in this way. You are selecting among possible different outcomes that are mutually beneficial to you and saying, yes, this one seems like something I am interested in creating with you. And saying, let's do that together, and setting that intention. You're not controlling the outcome, but surrendering to the different possibilities that are able for that energy to inhabit. You can also bring your own creativity to that process and propose different ideas to this energy and see what it wants as well. Because it can say, yes, while that is a great idea, I'm not the suitable energy for that. And so you would propose it to different energies and different energies. But what happens if it is an energy that you are just begun to be ready to work with, and there's still that edge of undesirableness to this energy, this edge of, I am not sure that I really want to collaborate with this energy. So as you begin to prepare to be ready, you are creating this energy within yourself. Get to know this energy. Ask it to guide you through these different visualizations of different formats that it could take that would be mutually beneficial for you both. And you will begin to open up your awareness to how this energy could show up in your life as well, which then enables you to work with those formats as they come in for the first time from an external means rather than from your created means. And these are different ways that you can collaborate with these energies. Now, keep in mind that as you are collaborating with different energies and predicting different outcomes, because that is truly what you are doing, you can do this with any energy that you want. So if there is a particular outcome that you desire in life, that you truly want with all of your essence to be able to create, identify the energies behind it. And once you have done that, ask each energy, because usually it is more than one energy, how you can best collaborate together and what you need to give up control over to create what it is that you desire. And in that way, as you embody that energy, as you are creating it within yourself, you will begin to attract those same energies in creation and be able to collaborate them to create the outcomes that you want. Now, you may find that, yes, certain energies are just not open or available to creating what it is that you desire. And so at that point, you can ask the universe and your spirit guides to direct you to different opportunities. But again, allowing yourself to create from within and let go of control of the outcomes will create something much far greater than anything that you have in mind right now. Now, as you are going through this process of collaboration with different energies, we would advise noting down what they tell you and how it evolves over time, because as you gain a trust relationship and connection with these different energies, you will find that you can collaborate better with them. You are more in tune. And that is when your energies have begun to collaborate together in a way that is more effective. We send you great love in this endeavor and ask you to allow yourself to be open to this experience, that energies have consciousness just as much as you do. We send you great love. That is all. I think the biggest takeaway here from this episode is that energies have consciousness. While they are not a being in the way that we may think about it, they have desires just like we do. And when we create an energy within ourselves, we can collaborate with that energy in such a way of saying, hey, what's beneficial to you that's beneficial to me that we could create together? And that is a really different perspective than saying energies are non-entities. They don't have desires, they're just an is. But when we start to view the world through a more spiritual lens of everything has consciousness around us, why would that not apply to energies as well? And that's been something that after recording this, I've been reflecting on of, okay, that makes sense. That if I believe a crystal has consciousness and it's physical, but it has a consciousness, why can't energies also have a consciousness? And it's something that I'm going to have to really work with in my own internal logic, I guess, of figuring out what that means for me. But a few other things I've thought about in recording this episode. Monty will very rarely predict outcomes for people. And there's a few different reasons why that is the case is primarily he can't predict all of the different choices that people are going to make. And so the more people that are involved in something and the more decision makers that are involved in something, he says, well, there's just too many range of possibility. And what we're looking for when we're predicting something is something with the highest probability. So he's looking at possibilities and saying this one's highly probable to make a prediction. And he's explained that in many ways, this is what a psychic that's reading the future is also tapping into, because that we live in this multiverse where everything exists all at once. That also means that some are less probable than the other because of different choices we make or different circumstances and all of that. And that it's also about choice of picking what we want. So as we're collaborating with these energies, this energy is basically tuned into all of its different possibilities that could have. And then from there, in the visualization, you're also figuring out what the probability is. It's this very interesting, nuanced concept that I'm still kind of wrapping my head around of how can it predict? But I guess in the same way of it's looking for the probabilities and the possibilities, and then you're making choices along with it to bring it into manifestation, that increases the probability of those things happening. Now, that's not to say that even though you work with an energy, it doesn't actually come to fruition. And I think that that's part of the point of saying we have to surrender. We have to say, yeah, we have this intention and desire in mind, but it may or may not happen. And we have to be okay with that. I think that's a big part of that recipe there, that we have to understand that although we can make different choices, it doesn't guarantee an outcome. And that it's that experience of collaboration is really why we're there. And that collaboration itself is the purpose and the reason that it's beneficial to us. So I'm going to be putting this into practice myself of thinking about, okay, these are the manifestations I really, really want to create. What are the energies behind those? Now let's start to collaborate together and see if that's possible between the two of us, me and that energy. And I think it's actually going to be quite a few different energies involved together. So I'm going to have to get everybody on board maybe. But see, then again, that's that control wanting to pop up of saying, well, I'm going to have to get everybody on board. We'll see. And that's the fun part, I think, of learning that act of surrender. So I hope this episode has helped you as much as it's helped me. If not, we'll clarify it over time and understand that even though things can be confusing in the spiritual space, it'll hit at some point, and everything has so many layers to it. It'll unfold in its own time. As always, if you would like some personal guidance, you can join Monty and me for a one-to-one session, and we will see you in the next episode. We thank you so much for joining us.